Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty Show and our Week 5 recap. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already and you enjoy the content here. Please help us keep going here. Check us out on our Patreon at patreon.com, Birdhouse Dynasty Show, and my new Dynasty rankings. You can also catch my top 25 college rankings. It was a hell of a weekend over in college football. They've got a couple of huge games coming up this weekend as well. Please be sure to check out the new upcoming 25 rookies in that for this weekend. Now, I do have my rankings up to date there in the college football realm for the 2025 rookie class. So if you are in rebuild mode, be sure to check that out so you can see which guys you will be looking forward to obtaining in May coming next off season. So aside from that, let's just get right into it. Check out the thumbnail. And of course, we had Mr. Jamar Chase as our thumbnail this week with his monster game. Oh man, Jamar just lit it up. So did Joey B. 10 catches, 193 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Oh, what can I say? It was nice to see him back in rhythm with Joey B. And the rest of the Bengals and the Ravens all blew up in this one. This was just a crazy game. Burrow had 5 touchdown passes, and then the game got into overtime, and the Bengals chose to sit on the ball and try and kick a field goal, and of course, they missed. Then Derrick Henry took it the other way, 50 yards, and Justin Tucker did not miss. And that cost the Bengals the game. We can get into the box score here. Let's check out the box score. What do we want to do here? Let's do this. Let's see here. Yes, here we go. All right. So if we look at it from this perspective, you can see Joe Burrow there, 392 yards on 30 of 39 passing, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. Zach Moss did get carted off in this one, just 9 carries for 24 yards. Chase Brown took over, 12 for 46. He also, let's scroll down here. See all of the receiving stats for the Bengals. Chase Brown, 3 for 8, got a touchdown. T. Higgins showed up finally. 9 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns for Higgins. He was hot early on. Then Chase took over in the second half. And so from the Bengals offensive perspective, going forward, at least for the next few weeks, it looks like it'll be the Chase Brown show. Now, in a deeper league, you might want to pick up Travion Williams because it's quite possible that Chase Brown kind of stays in the similar role as far as the third down goes. I could see him obviously getting more attempts on first and second down, but don't be surprised if Travion Williams does get 7 or 8 looks on first and second down. So you don't want to miss out on that if you have a deeper league, because the possibility is always there. And in deeper leagues, it's very tough to get running backs that get volume. And so, who knows? Chase Brown could get hurt next week, and then Travion Williams has the whole backfield. So I'm just saying Travion is out there in probably 99% of the leagues. So he's somebody to look at in a deeper format. Now over to the Ravens side of the ball here. Let's take a look at their box score. Lamar Jackson, of course, he had 348 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He just lit it up with the tight ends in this one. I mean, it was pretty crazy, the looks. Now, we know Mark Andrews has been completely frustrating for his owners, but Charlie Kohler had 64 yards and a touchdown, big 55-yarder. Isaiah Likely had 2 touchdown grabs. The big one where Lamar scrambled out towards the right sideline and then waved him over towards the goalpost and hit him in the back of the end zone. That was just an awesome touchdown pass. Rashad Bateman even got into the flow of things here, 58 yards and a touchdown. Zay Flowers showed up 7 for 111. And Mark Andrews there, 4 for 55. Just missed a touchdown. He was overthrown. So Mark Andrews owners, don't leave him for dead yet. I wouldn't put too much into the Charlie Kohler performance here. So I don't know what's exactly sustainable. I love seeing Zay Flowers back into action. And so here's the rushing stats for you. Lamar added 55 yards on the ground, so over 400 yards of total offense for Lamar on the day. Derrick Henry got the big 51-yard run after the missed field goal in overtime, and so he was able to get up to 92 yards rushing on the day. Just 15 attempts. This was a pass-happy game. I'll admit I picked up the Ravens D in one of my leagues. Ouch. So Derrick Henry still going strong, 92 yards. He had the big run in overtime here. And so both offenses just absolute fire. Now, let's go on to one of the other earlier games. What game do we want to talk about from the early ones? Let's head over to let's try this one out here. What you guys think of this one? We'll bring them out. Okay. How about the Bears, Panthers, and Caleb Williams? Woo! This one was expected to be high scoring as well, but it was ultimately totally one-sided for the Bears, and Caleb Williams just showed out on Sunday. Let's bring up the Bears numbers. And finally, we saw what we had been hoping for in Caleb Williams. He was 20 of 29 on the day for 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let's bring up their stats here. And here's box score. So there you have it. Caleb Williams, 20 of 29, 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also added 34 yards on the ground. DeAndre Swift had a good game, 73 yards on the ground with a touchdown. Roschon Johnson added 25 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Now through the air, DJ Moore getting 2 touchdowns on the day, 105 yards on 5 catches. We also had, let's see here, DeAndre Swift added 47 yards through the air. Cole Kmet, 3 for 57. Rome just got 5 catches and 40 yards only. And Keenan Allen, 3 for 33. Now, if we go over to the Panthers side of the ball, they didn't have much going on here. Andy Dalton, the Magic may have left the station. Just 18 of 28. He was being pressured all day long, only 136 yards and an interception. Chuba Hubbard, though, still still chugging along there. Choo choo Chuba, 97 yards. Whew. 97 yards on the ground and a touchdown. We've got Chandler in the house. What's up, Chandler? Good to hear from you again. Oh, what do you got here this week? Chandler wants to trade Stroud, Ford, and Rachaad White for Bijan. Oof. We're going to get into some Bijan talk later when I get to the Bucks-Falcons game, but why not chat a little about him right now? So you want to trade Stroud, Ford, and Rachaad White. Well, who is your quarterback for one? Who's your other quarterback? Because right now is the time to buy Bijan. Bijan is still the ultimately talented running back. The Falcons' offense has things rolling. Kirk Cousins just lit up the Bucks and showed how important Antonio Winfield is to that Bucks secondary. I mean, Cousins just kept hammering down the middle over the linebacker in front of the safety all game long. That's how they got the game-winning touchdown. That's how the play went right before it. Drake London was hitting it all day long, and then Hodge got it and scooted around the safety who went for the interception. I think it was Jerome Whitehead there, went for the interception, and Hodge just scooted past him for the game winner. Look, if this is a shallow format, I am all about this kind of deal, because if it's one quarterback, for one, I'm assuming he has a decent second quarterback. I'm not talking Andy Dalton, because you don't want to be relying on somebody like that the rest of the season. If you have a decent second quarterback, aside from Stroud, this is a great deal. I mean, if you're going to be starting anybody, I don't know. Would I rely on somebody like Sam Darnold? I think you could. I think you could rely on Sam Darnold. I'd want to be in the Darnold, Cousins, Baker line or above. If you've got somebody like that you can trust, who's going to get some good passing volume, which is similar to Stroud, not quite the ceiling as Stroud, but I mean, on a week-to-week basis, Darnold, Cousins, or Baker could easily play Stroud even outproduce him in certain weeks. So as long as you have somebody like that, I am all about upgrading from Rachaad White or Jerome Ford up to Bijan. Bijan should get plenty of red zone opportunities going forward. We know that Tyler Algier is a decent player and is going to steal some touches from him, but that happens in just about every backfield other than the Rams backfield right now, and maybe Saquon too. But if Bijan's got it rolling, I guarantee you he is going to end up getting that volume that we're looking for from him, and we just haven't seen it yet this season. So this is the time to trade for Bijan if you can get something like this. Again, it's key who his second quarterback is. I don't want to be relying on Dalton, or, if you have Justin Fields, that's a little trickier of a situation because we don't know exactly what you're going to get from Fields going forward. But I mean, if you got Purdy or Dak or Love, I wouldn't rely on Daniel Jones quite yet. If you've got Geno, I could throw into the Baker Cousins mold. They're doing enough pass volume there in Seattle that I would trust it to add to Bijan. I mean, think about it. You're starting Geno and Bijan, or you're starting Stroud and Rachaad White. That's what you're looking at. Okay. So I'd lean doing it. So that's my thoughts. Again, it's important who your second quarterback is there, Chandler. So just let me know in the chat once you um, get back to this. Um, let's move on from let's talk about the Panthers again here. Deontay Johnson, just 3 catches on the day, 23 yards. It was not good. Xavier Legette left the game with an injury. Let's scroll down here a little on the Panthers. Here's the Panthers receiving numbers. So Chuba added 4 catches, but -2 yards. So that didn't help. Jonathan Mingo, 2 for 37. Jalen Coker is somebody to look at. Again, in a deeper format, Jalen Coker, along with Travion Williams, those are 2 names to look for. I'm sure they're owned in 1% or less of those leagues. JT Sanders, just 3 for 13. So again, Xavier Legette left with an injury. We'll have to monitor that. But all around, just a great game for the Bears on offense and on the defensive side of the ball. All right, let's move on to the next matchup. And who do we want to look at here? All right, let's go to London and the Jets Vikings matchup. So bring up the box score here for you. We'll start off with the Jets. Why not? Aaron Rodgers getting his coach fired, and that happened earlier this morning as the news came out that Saleh was relieved of his duties in New York. Kind of an odd thing considering their defense was, 5th in the league. You'd think that Nathaniel Hackett might be the guy to get the hack, or at least demoted from play calling duties, but nope. They just decided to let Robert Saleh go, and now he can go be a defensive mind, help out some other organization, and I don't know how that's going to work out for these Jets, but they wanted to try something. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in Amari Cooper or Devontae Adams to the shit show they got going on. I mean, look at the rushing numbers. Just, you got Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, and you combine for 36 yards only. Just ridiculous. Braylon Allen added 15 yards in the air. Let's bring up their receivers numbers. There we go. Tyler Conklin being very consistent, finding Aaron Rodgers, finding him as a nice safety blanket there, 6 for 55. Garrett Wilson just finally showing out, 13 for 101 and a touchdown. So we finally had that game from Garrett Wilson, but will it be sustainable? Will it be sustainable is the main question. Now, if they bring in somebody like Amari Cooper, I could see it becoming sustainable, and it's just a better passing offense all around. Now, if Devontae Adams goes there, though, things could get real tricky for Garrett Wilson, and you're not going to be able to trade him for anything. And right now, if you have Garrett Wilson, he's simply a hold. I mean, he's not somebody you want to be buying off a performance like this. He's not somebody you want to be selling because everybody knows that Devontae Adams might go there. So nobody's going to want to give you anything special. So it's a tricky situation, but unfortunately, you're just going to have to hold with Garrett Wilson and hope and pray that they don't actually bring anybody else into the wide receiver room. Again, Amari Cooper wouldn't be terrible, but I would not like to be seeing Devontae Adams there added to this wide receiver room. Now over to the Vikings, who pulled this one out. Sam Darnold, not the best of days, 14 of 31, 179 yards and a pick. He went down for a little bit, and Nick Mullins had to come in, but Darnold came back out there. CJ Ham banged one in, and then Aaron Jones did go down with a hip injury in this one. So that makes Tyler Chandler Tyson Chandler, a very interesting add if he's available in your league. And if you've had him stashed, this is a guy you want to be looking to possibly start in week 6. Now, week 7, week 6, these Vikings do have their bye. So monitor the Aaron Jones injury. I would suspect he'd be out 2 to 3 weeks, maybe more. Aaron Jones isn't the type that just goes down when he goes down, he's not down for one game. And so, Tyson Chandler should be looking at some nice volume here going forward. If you want to do a speculative add in a deeper format, Myles Gaskin would be your guy. So Tyson Chandler is the guy for first and second down, but Myles Gaskin could be a receiving back for this team. It could be like a 60-40 split. And so you could see Gaskin getting, third down work, maybe 2-minute drill work. He's been around. He's a veteran. So look for that if you have a very, very deep league. Jordan Addison, just 3 for 36. Justin Jefferson still showed up, 6 for 92. Didn't get in the end zone, but 6 for 92 still ain't that bad. All right. Let's move on to the next game here. Let's see from some of the earlier games. What do we have here? We're going to go. Let's get through this ugly one. The Dolphins Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson showed up, and he had been suspected that he would just be a backup now to Antonio Gibson, but that sure didn't happen. Ramondre, 12 for 89 on the ground with a touchdown. Antonio Gibson, just 6 for 52, not a bad average. But again, Ramondre showing up here. He added 4 catches, only 3 yards. But main thing is that he produced. And let's see what else here. Pop Douglas, 6 for 59. Jalen Polk, only 1 for 13, as Jacoby Brissett finished the day 18 for 34 for $160 in his final start. As you may have heard already earlier today, it is May Day in New England, and Drake May, the rookie, will get the start in week 6. So those of you who have been stashing Drake May on your benches, get ready for him to get his first start for New England this upcoming week. It will be, I believe they're hosting the Houston Texans. So Texans defense getting ready to pin their ears back and chase the young rookie around. Over to the Dolphins side, we had Tyler Huntley, just 18 of 31 for $194 and a pick on the ground. Devon Achane got hurt, 3 for 18 on the ground before he got injured. Expect him to be out at least a week or two. So, not the greatest day for the Dolphins, even in the victory. So they do go into their bye week, but Achane looks to be out for, let me see. Let me bring up Achane here. I want to see what the latest is on his injury. Okay, so it was a concussion, and So with that, I mean, Jalen Wright is a nice speculative ad for week 7. When they'll head to Indy, who has a notoriously bad rush defense. So if you can squeeze Jalen Wright onto your rosters, it's possible somebody has dropped him from the, the poor performance earlier in the year. But now Jalen Wright, I mean, the guy put up 86 yards on 13 carries, looking good. Raheem Mostert, 80 yards on 19 carries. So the running game is back for the Dolphins. Again, that was against the Patriots, so it's hard to put too much stock into it. But go down to the receiving lines for the Dolphins here. Tyreek at least got 6 for 69. Jonnu Smith, 5 for 62. Jalen Waddle, 4 for 46. So nothing too inspiring here, and expect the same from the Dolphins going forward. I mean, Tyler Huntley just is not a volume type guy. We're still waiting for word on Tua. Let me see what the latest is on Tua. Let's bring him up here. The last I had heard, it was expected between weeks 8 to 10. Now, they have their bye this week. And so let's go here. They have their bye this week. Then they have Indy, Arizona, Buffalo, and the Rams. So I would expect somewhere. See, he's supposed to come off of IR heading into week 8, but that's no guarantee that he's back playing yet. So you can see here he met with a specialist. He's meeting with a specialist this week, and maybe we'll get better word after that. All right. So cross your fingers, all you Waddle and Tyreek owners. And okay, let's go over to another earlier game with a little more fireworks. That would be the Colts Jaguars. Woo-wee. This was a fun one. All right. So we've got Mr. Joe Flacco taking over for the injured Anthony Richardson, who should be back this week. But in the meantime, Flacco lighting it up, 33 of 44 in the comeback effort for the Colts, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns. On the ground, it was ugly. Trey Sermon did get into the end zone on 38 yards. Tyler Goodson added 26 yards. Then receiving numbers for the Colts. Let's bring those up here. All right. Trey Sermon had 6 catches for 25 yards. Goodson added 3 catches for 31. Big man here was, 2 of them. Josh Downs, 9 for 69. And then Alec Pierce with the big 65-yard touchdown. 3 for 134 through the air. Mo Alley Cox got into the end zone, as did Michael Pittman. Pittman just 37 yards on 5 catches, though. So at least he got in the end zone, and obviously Joe Flacco has meant a resurgence for Michael Pittman. Again, though, if it's back to Anthony Richardson, you might want to try. You might have a second life on trading Pittman right now. I know in one of my leagues I dealt Pittman after week 1 for a first rounder, and I'm so happy I did that. Now, over to the Jaguars side of the ball, and we got the man of the hour, and that would be Mr. Brian Thomas. Woo! Check this guy out. All right, Brian Thomas, 5 for 122, had the big 85-yard touchdown. Almost put him as the thumbnail today. But yes, Brian Thomas up to Dynasty wide receiver number 8 on Keep Trade Cut now. So, man, I can't say enough good things about this guy. Brian Thomas from LSU, So him and Malik Neighbors, both LSU guys, just following in the footsteps of Jefferson and Chase. And so you can't go wrong with those LSU guys. Now, on the ground, it was a little surprising. We saw Tank Bigsby sort of take over the, I don't want to say he completely took over the backfield, but 13 for 101 with a 65-yarder, 2 touchdowns, compared to Travis Etienne, just 6 for 17. And then in the air, Tank had a catch for 28 yards. Etienne still had 6 grabs for 43 yards. But total touches, let's see, 14 to 12. Yeah, 14 to 12. So Tank just out-touched him. And I think going forward, Tank Bigsby is a solid flex play right now for the time being. The way he's running right now, there's no reason to think that, especially with a guy like Doug Peterson, who's, coaching for his job every week right now, he's going to play who's running hard out there. And so you got to figure Tank Bigsby is going to be part of that equation with at least a 50-50 split now going forward. Also through the air, Christian Kirk 4 for 88. Brendan Strange got into the end zone. Still waiting for Evan Ingram to come back there for the Jaguars. So I think he is better, and he looks like he'll be ready. I know Gabe Davis left with a shoulder injury, just 3 for 38 through the air for him. Trevor Lawrence finished the day with a stellar 126 quarterback rating. That's what we want to see from T-Law. 28 to 34 for 371, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I mean, this is the Trevor Lawrence we had been looking for all off season. So maybe T-Law's got it back here. We'll see. The Colts have, let's see, who do they have coming up this week? The Colts have the Titans. So it should be an interesting one there. Titans coming off of their bye, and the Colts struggling defensively. The Jaguars, on the other hand, let's see. The Jaguars visit Chicago. So that should be a very interesting one. Trevor Lawrence versus Caleb Williams in that one. That'll be an early. Oh yeah, they're going to London. That's right. So that'll be an early morning tilt for us to enjoy. Let's head over to another one here from the early games. And what can I say about Jalen Daniels that hasn't already been said? I mean, this guy is just lighting the world on fire. I'm having a tough time debating between him and Josh Allen at QB1. I mean, I never thought I'd be saying that at this point in the season. Here's the numbers. Jaden Daniels, 14 of 25, 238, touchdown on a pick. But that's not the reason why he's so highly thought of right now. You look at the ground numbers, 11 for 82. I mean, that is just something that not many other quarterbacks can do. Lamar Jackson, maybe. But the key is the way he's running the offense as a rookie is just really been surprising. Brian Robinson played through the injury, just 18 yards on the ground, but did hammer in 2 touchdowns. Jeremy McNichols also got in to the end zone, 7 for 44, and Austin Eckler, 6 for 67. So huge ground attack here for the Commanders against the putrid Browns. And I just don't know what's going on in Cleveland. I mean, I don't think they know what's going on. Through the air, Terry McLaurin caught a 66-yarder. Didn't get in the end zone on it, though. 4 for 112 is what he finished. So there's been a resurgence for McLaurin the last 3 weeks. He's gotten 16, 16, and 22 points. Diami Brown got a 41-yard touchdown, and not much else there for the Commanders. Zach Ertz, not a big day this week. Over to the Brown side of the ball, geez, I don't even know what to say. It sounds like Amari Cooper is going to be heading out of town. Deshaun Watson, 15 of 28, 125 yards. Did get a touchdown to Jordan Atkins. But, man, this is just an ugly, ugly situation. Foreman had 44 yards. Ford had 47 yards on the ground. Not terrible numbers. But normally Jerome Ford gets some receiving action. He just had 3 catches for 2 yards only. David Njoku in his return, just 1 catch for 14 yards. There's Amari Cooper, 4 for 60. So I guess, 10 points in a PPR league, whatever. I mean, these Browns are just, I don't know what they're going to do this week. The Browns will be heading into Philadelphia. Very uninspired group right now. But, the way the NFL goes, I'm sure they'll blow out the Eagles 30-0 now. So, hey, I just give you the numbers of what's been going on. Try and call it as I see it here. The Eagles will be coming off of a bye, so wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles just destroy the Browns here again this coming week. Let's head over to let's see. Do we have any earlier games left? Oh yeah, we got the Bills Texans. That one went into overtime. This was a thriller. So we didn't get great numbers here from Josh Allen. I mean, we got pretty bad numbers, to be honest. 9 for 30, 131 yards, and a touchdown to Keon Coleman. His only grab, a 49-yarder. That was a sweet one. It'd be nice if he could start finding Coleman more often and relying on him a little bit. On the ground, Allen added 54 yards. James Cook, 82 yards and a touchdown. Let's see here. Ty Johnson, 3 for 15. Not a bad ad if you can find him on your waivers. If James Cook were to go down, it'd probably be the Ty Johnson show. I don't know that Ray Davis has shown anything the last week or two here. So I think Ty Johnson has pretty much solidified himself as the handcuff for James Cook. Cook added 2 catches for 17 through the air, so he just missed 100 yards total offense. Dalton Kincaid just 2 for 34, not exactly what we're looking for, but when Josh Allen only completes 9 passes, I mean, there's only so much that can go around here. So don't expect this to be the norm for the Bills going forward. Texans on the other side of the ball. Big news here was Nico Collins going down with the hamstring injury. He started the game off just on fire with a 67-yard touchdown, and then he pulled his hamstring. And so if it were me, I'd plan on Nico being out a month. Hopefully it's only 2 to 3 weeks, but hamstrings are tricky. He went into the week with showing up on the injury report with a hamstring, and then he was upgraded to healthy on Thursday or Friday and had no problem suiting up and playing, and obviously looked fine on the touchdown, but then afterwards is where he pulled up lame. So just monitor the situation. Again, I would expect at least 2 to 3 weeks for Nico to recover from this one. Xavier Hutchinson could be a sneaky ad for the next week or two because he will probably slide into Nico Collins' role. I know that Tank Dell will probably get more targets coming up in the next few weeks, but don't be surprised if Xavier Hutchinson catches a bomb or two here from Stroud. Tank Dell, as I mentioned, just 4 for 38. Stephon Diggs still had a solid game, 6 for 82. Stroud's numbers here. Let's roll up Stroud finished 28 of 38 for 331, touchdown and a pick. Cam Akers just not really doing too much on the ground. 42 yards, did get into the end zone, but Dare Angbugawale had 15 attempts. So, I mean, if Joe Mixon were to miss this week again, which it sounds like he will as of right now, Ogunbowale, 6 for 57 through the air. I would probably play Ogunbowale over Akers at this point, just because of the pass volume. All right, let's get over to some of the late games that we haven't discussed yet. How about the Giants Seahawks and the big upset for the Giants? Giants offense without Malik Neighbors actually showed up. Daniel Jones, 23 of 34, 257, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. Not much more you could ask for from Daniel Jones. Tyron Tracy, though, the big story here, 18 for 129 on the ground in Devin Singletary's absence. So make sure to check your waiver wire if Tracy hasn't been added already. Darius Slayton, though, showing up in Neighbors' absence, 8 for 122 and a touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson had a decent day, got some volume, 6 for 36 and a touchdown. So the Giants offense still looking operable in Malik Neighbors' absence. Over to the Seahawks side, Geno still getting the passing volume, which was good to see, 28 of 40, 284, and a touchdown. Fortunately for the DK owners, DK did put another one on the ground, so 4 for 55 and a fumble lost in back-to-back weeks now for DK. Look for DK to bounce back this week against the 49ers. Kenneth Walker, 7 for 57 through the air. He did add just 19 yards on the ground, so they were stymied all day long on the ground. Geno Smith actually led him in rushing. He had a big 32-yard run there. Let's see. JSN, just 4 for 31, did get in the end zone, so that's good to see. Tyler Lockett, 4 for 75, and Noah Fant, 3 for 24. All right. Over to the next late one. Let's check out the Packers-Rams game here and the box score. Let's bring that up here. Okay. So this one, we had Jordan Love, not many pass attempts, 15 of 26, 224, 2 touchdowns and an INT. We had Romeo Doubs suspended for a game for conduct detrimental to the team. Apparently, he was complaining about the amount of targets he was getting. And so Packers decided to suspend him for a week. So we'll see how that situation unfolds. Mainly it was because of the uptick in work for Dontavian Wicks, who only had 2 catches for 20 yards. Drops are obviously a problem for him. But Tucker Kraft, if you can pick him up, absolutely. Should have picked him up last week, but 4 for 88 with a monster 66-yard touchdown and a stiff arm on that one. He got in the end zone twice, so just a huge game for Tucker Kraft. Jaden Reed, 4 for 78 with a real sweet 53-yard catch. I don't know how he came down with that one. But that was about it for the Packers through the air. On the ground, Josh Jacobs did get 73 yards and a touchdown. So solid day for Jacobs. He added 21 yards through the air. So 94 total yards for Jacobs with that touchdown. Pretty solid afternoon for him. Over to the Rams side of the ball, of course, they're still missing Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. So Matthew Stafford, 29 or 45 for 260 with a touchdown and a pick. Receiving wise, he spread it around. Jordan Whittington, top guy, 7 for 89. Now, Whittington is somebody you can add because I feel confident that he'd still have a role once Cooper Kupp gets back. Obviously, when both of them are back, then it'll be tough for Whittington, but I think he'll still see decent snaps when Kupp comes back. Demarcus Robinson did get the lone touchdown catch for the Rams, only 28 yards, though. Colby Parkinson saw, I think it was 13 targets, so 7 of 52 for Parkinson, and Tutu Atwell also 6 for 58. Now, I think between Whittington and Atwell, once Kupp comes back, I think Atwell will be the guy who loses snaps. So Whittington would be one that I would look to possibly add in a deeper league for you. On the ground, we had Kyron Williams getting over the century mark. He had 102 yards and touchdown. We did have a Blake Corum sighting, though, finally. I know all of you owners have been waiting patiently for this. 5 for 25 on the ground. He added 1 catch for 8 yards. So it looks like he has supplanted Ronnie Rivers as the backup to Kyron Williams, which is important because of the volume that goes to the Rams top dog. And I mean, quite frankly, you can't expect Kyron Williams to play all 17 games. So Blake Corum is out there. It wouldn't be a bad ad right now. Make sure you get him now, especially since they're on bye this week. So people will overlook him. That would be a real savvy ad. All right. Let's get over. I think we got a couple more late games and the Sunday night game to talk about. Let's do Raiders Broncos. So the Broncos offense just showed up finally. 34 points. Bo Nix. Let's get him up here. 19 of 27, 206 and 2 touchdowns. Another solid afternoon for the rookie. His main target was Javonte Williams, 5 for 50 through the air. Cortland Sutton just 2 for 32. Little Jordan Humphrey, 2 for 48. So Nick's just spreading it around to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys. Troy Franklin even got into the mix, 1 catch for 20 yards. So Bo Nix just spreading things around. Javonte added 61 yards on 13 attempts on the ground. Bo Nix got into the end zone on a rush. So 3 touchdowns on the day for the rookie. Bo Nix definitely stepping it up and showing out early on. I mean, he's right there with Caleb Williams for performing wise. Jaden Daniels, obviously the stud rookies of the rookie quarterbacks right now, but Bo Nix, definitely a solid pick for whoever ended up getting him in your leagues. All right. Over to the Raiders side of the ball, do I even want to talk about it? Ugh. Gardner Minshew, 12 of 17, 137 yards, a touchdown, 2 bad interceptions. He got benched, and Aiden O'Connell came in. He was only 10 of 20 for 94 yards and a pick. One of those picks from Minshew was returned by Patrick Surtain, 102 yards for a touchdown. Madison pretty much taken over this backfield at 15 of 38, 15 for 38. He had 2 for 23 through the air. Amir Abdullah getting some work. He had 5 for 42 and a touchdown rushing. Also 3 for 9 through the air. So Amir Abdullah may be a sneaky ad considering the Raiders will be playing from behind a lot. And Abdullah is well known as a sneaky receiving running back. Let's see. Brock Bowers had the monster touchdown, a 57-yarder, and 8 for 97. So especially if Devontae Adams does get traded, look for Bowers. I mean, Bowers, to me, has got to be the tight end 1 going forward. He's already a tight end 1 in Dynasty. So Jacoby Myers, solid day, 6 for 72, and not much else going on. Trey Tucker, some people picked up. He was only 2 for 18. Better days on the horizon for Trey Tucker, though. He's sort of a always been a boomer bust type anyway. All right. Let's get into the highlighted games of the week. And we'll start off, let's see here. Start off recapping my Bucks Falcons game. Now, this one, obviously, I watched intently. Start off with the Bucks here. So Baker had a decent game. The problem really was just they didn't finish the game. I mean, he had the ball twice with under 3 minutes to go, looking to close out the game, and didn't do so. So that's extremely frustrating. The other frustrating part was Kirk Cousins getting 500 yards passing, but Baker, 19 of 24, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns, added 42 yards on the ground. So Baker with a solid day. Rushing wise, it was pretty split between Bucky and Rachaad White. 9 attempts for Bucky, 10 for Rachaad White. Rachaad White busted off a 56-yard run, though, so that's why his numbers look better. So he finished with 72 yards to Bucky's 44. Now, if you look at the air yards, again, Baker only threw for 180, so not crazy numbers through the air here. Mike Evans did get into the got over the 100 touchdown mark for the Bucks. 5 for 62, 2 touchdowns. We had Chris Godwin, 5 for 64. So nothing spectacular here. Sterling Shepard got the other touchdown from Baker. Kate Otten, 3 for 44. So again, just not too much passing volume for the Bucks, but they were in the lead most of this game. So, it's just disappointing ending. Now over to the Falcons, who really showed up, and it looks like Kirk Cousins is really getting control of this offense. 42 of 58, just a monster game. 509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. His main guy was Drake London all night, 12 for 154 and a touchdown. He was hitting this little curl just past the linebacker in front of the safety all night long. And then in overtime, London caught one, came out for a play, and Cordero Hodge comes in and does the same exact route. Safety tries to jump it, doesn't get to it. Hodge spins around him and takes off for the game-winning touchdown. And, all I can say, Ray McLeod, 6 for 66. Kyle Pitts into the action again, 7 for 88. Darnell Mooney, though, another big story here, 9 for 105 and 2 touchdowns. Mooney is definitely a solid flex play now with the type of volume he's getting from Cousins. Kyle Pitts is going to be up and down. I just don't know that the volume is going to be there. Maybe going forward, we'll see it. But right now, it's the London and Mooney show. Bijan Robinson, as Chandler asked about for a trade. Bijan, 12 for 61, averaged 5 yards. Okay, had a 28-yarder. Got just 3 for 16 through the air. So on a day where Cousins throws for 500 yards, you would expect more for Bijan through the air. But at least the ground game, the thing is that the Falcons were trailing and the passing game was working. So that's why they didn't run so much. But again, I'd be confident trading for Bijan in Chandler's case there. All right. On to the last game, and that would be the Monday Nighter, which had the Saints traveling to Kansas City. And we'll start off with the New Orleans Saints. And Derek Carr went down with an oblique injury in this one. Jake Haener had to come in and finish it out. Before that, Carr struggled. 18 for 28, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So, I mean, the Chiefs' defense is tough. So I wouldn't put too much into it. The main thing is whether or not Carr will be actually ready to play against Tampa next week in New Orleans. So receiving wise for the Saints, Rashid Shaheed back into the mix, 4 for 86 and a 43-yard touchdown. Foster Moreau caught the other touchdown. Alvin Kamara, 6 for 40. But the news here was at Chris Olave, just 2 for 10. And we're just not getting what we want from Chris Olave. And I don't know that Olave is going to be more than, that wide receiver 15 to 20 range. Him and Garrett Wilson just seem to be in this. I don't know if they're not on the same page every week with their veteran quarterbacks, but you would think that Carr and Rodgers would both just love to feed these guys, Olave and Garrett Wilson, and I just don't get it. So unfortunately, they're pretty much holds because you can't really get too much for them. If you can find a way to get 2 starters for the one, I would go ahead and do it. But otherwise they're holds. I mean, especially in Dynasty, they're so young. And I don't know that they're good. They've been playing good enough to where you can use them to jump up to an elite tier wide receiver, because who wants to down tier from Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase down to Chris Olave right now? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just don't. I don't get it. And I mean, I got one team that's a good team, and it's actually performing pretty well. And I have both Olave and Garrett Wilson on it, and I'm just stuck holding them. I mean, and I'll be fine with it as long as you got enough talent around them. Just hold on to them, take the good weeks with the bad, and move on. It's pretty much the same thing with Patty Mahomes here. Mahomes, I've moved down my dynasty quarterback rankings. He was at quarterback 6, and I don't know if I have to move him down again. It's just, Mahomes just isn't putting up the big numbers. He got over 300 yards here, but 0 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown for more than 2 touchdowns in over a year now. Let that sink in. Over 1 year. So to have him ranked in the same elite level fantasy-wise as Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson or now Jaden Daniels is just insane. I mean, I get it. His longevity may be there, but who knows how much longer Andy Reid's going to coach for. Would you be shocked if he retired after this season? I wouldn't, especially if they won a 3rd title. And they're 5-0 right now. They're well on their way to doing it. I don't believe they will, because I've never seen a 3-peat, and I've seen good teams try for it before, and it's just the NFL. It's tough. It's too tough to happen. So I guess what I'm getting at is Mahomes just isn't what we have come accustomed to. And it's going to be even harder now with Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown out for the seasons. I mean, Xavier Worthy is doing all he can. Juju showed up, 7 for 130, 50-yard one, but he missed a touchdown on a slant. They got tipped up in the air, and the nose tackle picked it off and returned it 40 yards. That was hilarious. But, if you got Juju, you sell on this, because I don't think this is sustainable. Travis Kelce, 9 for 70, so he's getting a resurgence. I would expect more of the same week to week for Kelce, but between Juju and Xavier Worthy, expect them to, share weeks on and off. Next week, Xavier Worthy could be the 7 for 130 guy. And so it's going to be hard between the two. I'd be fine with both of them in best ball, but in a lineup league, it's really tough. Really tough. Noah Gray, 2 for 29. Cole Hardman 4 for 33, and Kareem Hunt just 15 yards through the air. But again, Mahomes did get over 300 yards, so that's promising if you're a Patrick Mahomes owner. Kareem Hunt, though, the big story on the ground, 27 of 102 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy added a touchdown on a handoff from Kelsey, a real weird play, but not surprising from the Chiefs. So that's how Worthy got into the end zone. Anyway, that's about all I've got for you. We're going to be doing another show or two this week with Matt English. We're going to be doing that on Thursday. So it's been a lot of fun. Again, don't forget, check me out on Patreon. You can get all those rankings. It's just $3 a month. So that's at patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Any of your other questions you may have, you could throw me coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Or leave your questions in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them there too. But for that, I just want to remind you, never stop working.